Ever imagine living underwater? Like really living down there? I mean, it sounds like pure science fiction,
It
right?
says, doesn't it?
But get this. Back in the 1800s, there's this Spanish inventor, Narcissus Monturiol, and he almost actually made it a reality.
That's right.
So today, we're going to take a deep dive into his life and inventions. This guy was incredible, totally driven by social justice and scientific progress.
Hmm.
But most of all, he just had this burning desire to conquer the ocean depths.
Yeah, and what's fascinating about Monturiol is that he wasn't some, ivory tower scientist. He was a man of action, a revolutionary turned inventor.
Oh, yeah, I read about that. He had the Dodge authorities, right?
Yeah.
Publishing revolutionary material.
Exactly. And he was a self-taught engineer, inspired by, of all things, the dangers faced by coral divers.
Really? Wow.
It's a story full of twists and turns.
Well, let's jump right in, shall we? We know he was building submarines way before they were common, like
Oh, yeah.
decades before. So what set him on that path?
Well, you got to understand the time he lived in. He was born in Catalonia in 1819, right in the thick of it.
The thick of what?
Political turmoil. The First Carlist War was raging. It was brutal. Liberals against conservatives fighting for the Spanish throne. This conflict really shaped Monturiol.
So instead of shying away, he became an activist.
He did, full on. Writing for revolutionary publications. Even joined the national militia.
Wow, putting himself right on the front lines.
And there's this story, it's almost too perfect. He saved a drowning diver, and that's what ignited his fascination with the underwater world.
Wow, what a turning point. But eventually he shifted focus, right? From revolution to invention.
Yeah, it was a gradual thing. He lost friends and mentors like Abdo Taradas and Etienne Kabab to the violence. He was exhausted from the constant struggle.
So he turned to science, to the ocean, as a new kind of frontier.
Precisely. And those coral divers he saw, they were constantly in danger, decompression sickness, all sorts of hazards. He wanted to create a safer way for them to work.
So his inventions came from a place of empathy, of wanting to help people.
Absolutely. And he didn't just jump in blindly. Before designing anything, he did his homework, researched everything, diving bells, the old ones. William Bourne's theories on buoyancy, the turtle submarine used in the American Revolution. He even looked at Robert Fulton's Nautilus and Wilhelm Bauer's prototypes, all of them.
That's thorough.
He wanted to understand why they worked, why they failed, what he could improve.
He wasn't just tinkering, he was aiming for a breakthrough.
Exactly. And that's how he came to create the Ictinio, his first submarine.
Ictinio. Now, this wasn't just some little underwater craft, right? This thing was packed with innovations.
Oh, it was revolutionary. The most groundbreaking feature. Its double hull design.
Double hull. Seriously, back then.
Yeah. This was unheard of. An inner hull made of wood and copper designed to withstand the immense pressure of the deep ocean.
That's pretty ingenious.
Monturiol understood that to go deep, he needed a structure that could handle the force.
Smart thinking. So, what else? What other innovations did he come up with for the Ictinio?
Well, for one, he created a system of ballast tanks and air bladders. This allowed for precise control over the submarine's buoyancy, going up and down smoothly.
Like a fish, almost.
Exactly. He even tried to develop an onboard oxygen supply and a way to scrub out carbon dioxide. Knew they'd need to breathe down there.
Wow, he thought of everything. It sounds like he was way ahead of his time. But I'm guessing it wasn't all smooth sailing, right? Building something like this back then.
You guessed it.
Right.
Funding was a constant headache, and the materials available, well, they weren't ideal. But he pushed on, driven by this incredible vision, and finally, in 1859, in Barcelona, the Ictinio was launched.
What a moment. It must have been quite a spectacle.
Oh, it was. Captured everyone's imagination. And the test dives, they were a success. It seemed like Monturiol's dream was finally becoming a reality. But then, well, fate, it often has other plans.
Oh, no. What happened? Oh, no, I'm already getting a bad feeling about this. You said fate had other plans for the Ictinio.
It's a real heartbreaker. The Ictinio, this incredible invention, ended up colliding with a freighter. Just gone, like that. Years of work, all that effort, sunk.
Oh, man. That's awful. To pour so much of yourself into something and then have it taken away in an instant. How did Monturiol even recover from that?
It would have been understandable if he just gave up. I mean, what a blow. But Monturiol, he wasn't the kind to quit. He was resilient, and determined to learn from his mistakes.
So he picked himself up and started working on a new submarine.
Exactly. He decided to build the Ictinio II, and this time he was going to make it even better. Bigger, too.
Ictinio II, huh? So what was different this time around?
Well, the Actinius II was significantly larger, could carry a bigger crew, and he made the air purification systems way more advanced.
Longer dives, I bet.
Yeah.
Deeper, too, probably. But didn't he still have that problem with funding?
Oh, yeah, funding was a constant struggle. He realized he needed more support, to really make his vision a reality. So he decided to approach the government, the military, see if he could get them on board.
Was he trying to, militarize his invention?
Not at all. He emphasized the defensive potential, sure, but he was always a pacifist at heart. He even did a cannon test, showed that the Actinius II could fire underwater. But it was all about protection, not aggression.
So he really was trying to make the world a better place with his invention.
He really was. But sadly, the authorities didn't see it that way. They were more worried than impressed by the cannon, maybe even a little scared of it.
It sounds like a lot of people just didn't understand his vision. But even then, he didn't give up, did he? He kept innovating, even developed a completely new type of engine for the Actinius II.
Oh, yeah, this engine was totally revolutionary, chemically powered. Get this, it actually produced both heat and oxygen as part of the reaction.
Sounds pretty ingenious, like something out of a futuristic novel.
It was a brilliant idea, a way to make the submarine completely self-sufficient. But there was a problem.
I knew it. What was it?
Overheating. The reaction created a lot of heat, and he just couldn't figure out a good way to cool it down. It was a common problem with early engines. Even Monturiol, brilliant as he was, couldn't solve it.
Too bad. It's like he was so close to achieving something truly groundbreaking.
He really was. But ultimately, the financial troubles just kept piling up. He had to abandon the Actinius II project, just couldn't keep it going.
Man, I can't even imagine how crushing that must have been. After all that work, all that dedication, what happened to the Actinius II?
It's a sad ending. They ended up selling it for scrap. Imagine that, this incredible piece of engineering just torn apart. It was a huge financial blow, of course, but more than that, it was an emotional one. Monturiol had dedicated years of his life to this, poured his heart and soul into it, not to mention his family's resources. And then, on top of everything else, he lost 2 more children to tuberculosis. I mean, it's just hard to comprehend the level of grief and disappointment he must have felt.
It's almost too much to bear, honestly. Losing your life's work, your children, all in such a short time. It's hard to imagine coming back from all that. The loss of his submarines, his children. Did he ever really recover?
Well, it definitely marked him, those losses. But Monturiol was a fighter. He had this incredible spirit, and that spark of innovation never went out.
So he didn't give up on everything.
Not at all. He actually went back into politics, became a deputy in the first Republican Parliament, kept fighting for social justice, education, all the things he believed in.
It's pretty amazing that he can still find the energy to do that after everything he'd been through.
It shows his character, right. And even though he never built another submarine, he never lost his passion for underwater exploration. In fact, he wrote a whole book about it.
A book? What was it about?
It was called Essay on the Art of Navigating Underwater. He laid out all his theories, his designs, all the lessons he learned from the Actinio projects.
So even though his submarines weren't successful in the end, his work didn't just disappear.
Not a chance. His book, even though it wasn't published while he was alive, it became a really important resource for other inventors and engineers later on. Some people even think his ideas might have influenced Jules Verne.
Jules Verne, the guy who wrote 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
The one and only. His famous Nautilus submarine. Some say it has shades of Monturiol's designs in it. It's pretty cool to think about.
That would be quite a legacy. Is Monturiol remembered at all today?
Oh yeah, definitely. In Catalonia, he's a hero. They have monuments to him, streets and schools named after him, even a whole research institute that carries his name, all dedicated to marine science and technology.
It's great that he's getting the recognition he deserves. Even if his submarines didn't work out, his vision and his contributions are still inspiring people today.
That's what's so important about Monturiol's story, I think. It reminds us that innovation isn't always a straight line to success. There are going to be setbacks, disappointments, even failures.
Like that saying, you learn more from your failures than your successes.
Exactly. It's about what you do with those setbacks, how you learn and adapt. Monturiol never stopped pushing forward, even when things were tough. And that's a powerful lesson for all of us.
It's a good reminder, especially in today's world where everyone seems obsessed with overnight success. Real innovation takes time, dedication, and a willingness to keep going even when you hit a wall.
And it takes support, too. Monturiol's story shows us how important it is to have a society that's open to new ideas, even if they seem a little crazy at first. You never know what amazing things we might miss out on if we don't give those unconventional thinkers the chance to try.
It makes you wonder how many brilliant ideas have been lost or forgotten just because they didn't get the support they needed.
It's a sobering thought. We need to be more open to taking risks, to seeing failure as a part of the process, not the end of it. Who knows what kind of breakthroughs are waiting for us if we can do that? Maybe we'll even see Monturiol's dream of exploring the ocean depths finally become a reality.
That would be incredible. Well, I'm definitely feeling inspired to learn more about Monturiol. And if you're listening out there and feeling the same way, we highly recommend checking out Monturiol's Dream, The Submarine Inventor Who Wanted to Save the World by Matthew Stewart. It's a fantastic book that goes deep into his life, his inventions, and the world he lived in.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And if you're hungry for more deep dives like this one, be sure to subscribe to our show. We've got a whole treasure chest of fascinating stories just waiting to be explored.
So until next time, keep exploring, keep asking those big questions, and never stop wondering, what if?